Hello trainers, Ganeto here, and today we're diving together into Holiday Cup Great League Edition with my best teams around Altaria. Altaria is the perfect Pokemon for the meta, able to break down the fighters, the grass types, and go pretty neutral even against its solid counters. My teams today will not only provide extra coverage against this Pokemon, but also will cover the main weaknesses of Altaria, that being the Ice typing. So now, without any further ado, let's dive into the first team showcase. Teamwork makes the dream work, so here is a team that really requires a lot of synergy between its picks in order to succeed, but when you achieve that synergy, well, nothing will stop you. We have up on the lead the Altaria, which is a bulky option for the current meta of Holiday Cup Great League Edition. At the back, we got Lantern and Sandslash. So for Altaria, you mainly want to pressure with your fast attacks, while your charge attacks, Moonblast and Sky Attack, or even Dragon Pulse if you have no Moonblast on your Legacy Altaria, can still do all the work that you need to take the shields and pressure a lot with your Dragon Breads. The bulk is so good that you can tank the hits, leaving aside for your closer to sweep the entire team if they manage to get to the end game without you doing all the work with the other two Pokemon, because both Lantern and Altaria are pretty good for the meta. Lantern will work as a safe switch here, and you're gonna see that in no time you're gonna be on a very good spot with this line, especially Altaria with Lantern absorbing the hits will leave some room to that Sandslash to sweep the entire team. So Lantern will be the safe switch of the line, going pretty crazy with its water guns. You get some coverage against Aurorus as well, which is pretty nice. Thunderbolt can connect for big damage, while Surf will do the cheap work for this line. Closer of this team is gonna be Alola Sandslash. Feel free to use the Shadow Claw, feel free to use that Powder Snow. You're gonna need both of those sometimes, but you have to switch to one of those if you want to have some success, of course, because you can only use one fast attack. For your charge attacks, you can always use something like an Ice Punch, which is a must have, I believe, and of course Gyro Ball or that Bulldoze can help you for coverage. I like Gyro Ball because it can also one-shot down that potential matchup with the Frostlass, but I also like Bulldoze because it can give you some coverage against the electric types, which are gonna be kinda problematic since we do not have a straight answer for that Pokemon, but only neutral coverage. So it's up to you, whatever you want to choose. It will work pretty good for you, because Sandslash with either Gyro Ball or Bulldoze will most likely one-shot that Aurorus no matter what. Core breaker of this line, of course, is gonna be the Dunsparce, because its moveset is going pretty well against this line, but so far I haven't seen a lot of Dunsparces around. Once again, we have an Altaria up on the lead and taking advantage of its coverage against the fighters. We have a weak to fighting backline here that can protect Altaria even more from other threats, something like an Ice type, for example. We got at the back the Diggersby and the Alola Graveler, so those two are gonna perform pretty well against the Ice types, almost walling them down. You have a lot of good matchups against the meta, and you are afraid only of that fighting type at the back, but still, because no pure fighter with a fighting type in its typing exists, every single fighter here is gonna be pseudo fighter, most likely something like an Obstagoon or a Vigoroth. You are not gonna be on a very bad spot. You still have a lot of play even against those Pokemon with this current backline. We're looking at a pretty strong Nuki team here with moves like Sky Attack, Moonblast, Stone Edge, or even Earthquake and Hyper Beam from your backline and the Diggersby. So safe switch is gonna be the Diggersby. Obviously, you're gonna use it most of the times to draw out that fighter and go with that aggressive switch with the Earthquake, with the Fire Punch. Whatever they decide to do, you're gonna have the upper hand there, because you are definitely taking a shield for sure out of them. With that fighter out of the way, now you have a very good matchup with your Altaria up on the lead. Not only the fighter, but also a grass type can be taken out with that aggressive switch with your Diggersby, leaving aside for your Graveler to flip around whatever backline they have with your back-to-back Stone Edges, or just go with those Rock Blasts to do some cheap damage, take those shields, and then finish them off with finesse. Core breaker of this line, of course, it is gonna be the Piloswine, because it has a lot of play with that Avalanche against that Altaria. It has access to Bulldoze, which can destroy down that poor Pokemon, that poor Alola Graveler that we have, and of course another Avalanche might be the end for the Diggersby, but Diggersby still can hold on to its HP levels, even getting hit with that super effective move. Aurorus is Altaria's best buddy in crime, and there is a reason behind behind that, Altaria is gonna be weak to the Ice type Pokemon while it has coverage against the fighters. Guess what? Aurorus does exactly the opposite. It is weak to the fighters while it has a very good matchup against other Ice type Pokemon because of its accessibility to the Meteor Beam. So with Meteor Beam around right now, that Aurorus of yours can definitely one-shot any other Ice type around, while it will give you a nice boost to your attack stat and will get you some really nice play against even its solid counters. At the back, with Aurorus up on the lead, of course, we got another Pokemon pretty safe against the meta, the Vigoroth, which is gonna be one of the best safe switches on the entire Great League, so it makes no surprise as to why we're seeing it here on that Great League format, the Holiday Cup. We got Vigoroth with its Body Slam to spam its way to victory, with Bulldoze giving it some really nice coverage, not only for the Steel types, but also for that Lantern matchup, which is gonna be a pretty usual matchup. Lantern is another safe switch, we have already seen it on this video, so having a Pokemon like Vigoroth to counter swap even a whole Lantern can be the key for your success sometimes, and flipping around that really bad lead that you had with your Aurorus. Core breaker of this line is gonna be, of course, the Alolan Graveler, because it has a very good matchup against that Aurorus, dealing super effective damage with its charge attacks. Has also the Stone Edge, which can almost one-shot down the Vigoroth, and it will definitely one-shot down that whole Altaria out of existence, but still Altaria can go pretty neutrally good against that Graveler. The counter damage is still gonna be immense against that Graveler, and of course Meteor Beam has to be blocked, otherwise Graveler is gonna be a soft counter for this line. For the final team showcase, we are gonna risk a little bit in here because this line is extremely weak to the fairy types. Hopefully with the recent nerf to the charm, you're not gonna see a lot of fairy types around, so if you do not have any fairy types at all on your battles, just be sure that you check this team out. We're having Altaria up on the lead, followed up by a Steel type to cover that weakness to charm effectively if it ever happens, and of course the safe switch is gonna be the Obstagoon. We're having here a very solid line where we want to use Obstagoon as our safe switch aggressively, because we want to bait out to that Vigoroth of the opponent so that we can farm it down with our Altaria, take a shield out of it with the Sky Attack and one with the Cross Chop, while our closer Togedemaru will have the shields and absolutely wreck apart whatever the opponent has to destroy down with a double Wild Charge or even the Gyro Ball if they have something like a nice type around. This team works pretty well with each other. The only core breaker that I have found out is gonna be the Alolan Ninetales, not because of its charm damage, but because of its typing. It can resist the Dragon Breath, has a very good matchup against that Obstagoon. Most people do not play it with charm, but instead with Powder Snows, but still it will struggle a lot against the Togedemaru, and makes a lot of sense because a simple Gyro Ball will one-shot it down out of existence, and that is a very critical play for that Togedemaru to land the Gyro Ball and win you the battle against the Alolan Ninetales. Other than that, you're gonna be just fine. This team is super strong and you are not gonna regret your time using this line to make some really nice elo for your total score. So that's all, trainers. Thank you for watching, thank you for staying till the end. Just be sure to leave a huge like before you go, subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and I hope to see you all into the next one. Take care, trainers.